Hi everyone, welcome again to another episode of Artist Spotlight. Today we have a special guest, Claire Yang from California. Hi Claire,
Hi,
how are you?
doing good. It's
Good.
nice Friday, sunny in California. So
Yes, I'm jealous. Good to see you from the sunny place. I'm here pretty cloudy, although you don't see it in the background there, but it's pretty cloudy, trust me. Cloudy and rainy. But yeah, so we're gonna chat with Claire. Why don't you talk about where you're from and how did you come to art making and what's your inspiration? Um, yeah, let's just start from there.
yeah, sounds good. So hi everyone. My name is Claire. I also goes by Xiao Chen, which is my Chinese name. Yeah, so I grew up in China, where I started drawing when I was like 3 or 4 years old. I started like it's like making like doodles, like scribbles of my parents' house. I'm really glad they did not get mad at the moment. Basically, it's like made a whole mess of things all over the place. And then I just like I think I enjoy the creating process where art is something really intuitive. It's very human that you do. It's basically how you express yourself. And then I think when I was little, I was kind of getting trained, going to different like classes, learning about different medias,
Yeah.
like watercolors, acrylic, and
Yeah.
then yeah, also some traditional like Chinese media, like using like ink and wash. It's basically using the brush, and then you can create different layers, different transparencies using one color, which is the black ink. So that was something when I was doing when I was younger. Yeah, and then I really want to study art as a profession. However, my parents were both engineers, they're like really against it. So that's kind of in the end, I got into design school. So I went to college doing traditional like graphic design. So I do a lot of things with like paper, designing posters, learning about how to do like kind of the silk screen press. So a lot of things with different mediums, which is also really cool. And then and then I went to the US for graduate school, where it's the same school where Nino went before.
No way.
Right in Pasadena.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I met Nino in there before, but yeah, so for my graduate study is actually a lot about like art and technology. So kind of looking at kind of how technology has different influence over people, like art not only as a form as drawing, but kind of art as critical thinking and look at different methodologies, how like the technology can influence people. Yeah, so I would say my story with art or my relationship with art is always evolving, and it's to me it's always about like in-betweenness. It's about like art, design, technology, and also human. So that's something really inspired me, and also I love that kind of in-between space between those kind of different disciplines.
Yeah. So from school, you went to work for a technology company, well, which is kind of aligned with what you learn at school, right? It's it's an interaction design for digital products. So there's technology and art in there, and it's kind of mixing together, right? So how is that working for you right now? Like how do you mingle the two between being an artist and being a designer and technology? How where do you see any definitely any a lot of relationship there, but you see any walls as well, or
Yeah, to me it's a little bit separate. Where I think art to me is like it's very intuition based. Where there's a lot of like visual language I can play around. versus I think at work or when you work, like even when I was working for design agency, it's very structured. So I do think there's a lot of, like, for example, like the aesthetics, kind of the visual language, the design system is something that I can always transfer between my own practice and my work. But I think for me, I kind of keep it a little bit separate, where my art is something, it's my own playground, where this, like, anything is possible. I make my own design brief, and then I think I connect with other artists. To me, it's like messy in the way that it's like very nurturing. Versus at work, I do feel like my role as a product designer, interaction designer, is a lot about like, user research. It's about the logics. It's about how things make sense for a larger group. You're serving other people. With art, it's more like about amplifying my own voice, my self-expression. So I do see some of the connection in between, but I kind of keep them separate in a way. I feel like I have my own like areas to play things with.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so it's I guess if you look at it from interaction design, that is a lot of is it left brain? Yeah, a lot of logic needs to be in there, and then fact-based, research-based, and how things supposed to work. But yeah, I mean, our world is kind of similar. Like, those of you who doesn't know, we used to work together at a technology company, and that's how we met as well. So I kind of understand that world, and then I personally still trying to kind of mix the two, because my world is less of a interaction design, like pure interaction. It's a little bit more a mixing between visual and interaction, maybe more heavy on the visual. So that's a lot more, I don't know, right brain feelings to that. So how do I bring feelings into a product? So that's a kind of gray area. It's not, sometimes it's not fact-based. It's more like gut feeling. So it's mixed between the two. It's a gut-based and also fact. So you're also testing it, but a lot of those are, it's invisible. it's kind of hard to grade it. So anyway, so now what kind of work have you been doing for your art side of your work?
Yeah, so for 2000, actually, I think my most art practice started during the pandemic time. In 2020, I was doing something I call sketchbook projects, where I was making like some hand drawing sketch, like about 2 pages per day, which is purely just like black and white. Just for myself to build the momentum. And then also, I think just for myself to figure out a way, how can I keep drawing and making art also with like a 9-to-5 job. So that's something I experiment with. And then that kind of emerged into my next series, is with like a digital art practice with Asian food, where I'm a foodie. I love to eat, and also I recognize food is really part of the culture I grew up with. Like, food is about sharing with people. Food and the taste of food remind me of family. Like, there are a lot of times I was like, oh, there's something my grandma used to make, or this reminder dish I shared with some friends at certain places. And then also I feel like it's a way for me to share my culture more visibly through art, through visual. So I did that like through digital drawing, which is an iPad, with Procreate. It's an app you can draw on the iPad. So that's my like another project I was doing this year. And also I was doing with Nino, with our Spice Art Club, kind of experiment with some abstract drawing, which was also related with the pandemic, where in pandemic there's lots of like isolation, there's less social interaction. So I using the art as a way for me to express my feelings. And sometimes it's like, oh, there's a lot of work stress, or it could be I have not seen my friend for a long time because of COVID. So it's like the art was based on some of my trauma or my bad experiences, but the vibrant color or the way how I'm making it with different materials has been a really therapeutic and soothing experience for me. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the key project I've been experiment for this past 2 years.
Okay, so the sketchbook project is it's analog sketching, like using
Yes.
paper, pencil, watercolor, or what kind of
It was using actually it's like a very simple pen. It has two tips.
pen?
It's a pen, but it's like ink.
Oh,
So
okay, okay,
yeah,
okay. And then after that, you play around with digital art. I mean, digital uh, using iPad, and then the latest one is abstract drawing. Is that the abstract one? I remember you use a pouring medium as well. Like, so those are different though. That and also other abstract painting. Yeah.
yes, yeah. I'm glad you remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the pouring one was something I feel like is less structure. It's something is very expressive. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of like emotion you can
Mhm.
using with the pouring things, and then it's
Yeah.
really playing with colors.
Mhm.
So I think that one to me is more like a pattern study for me to
Yeah.
kind of get familiar with different colors to see how would the pattern emerge out of like this
Mhm.
kind of random act of an art making.
Yeah.
And with the most recent one, the ones is more with like the abstract shapes. It's something more like with like the crayons and also with acrylic. To
Yeah.
me, it's more. To me, it's a little bit more logical. It's more like design. To me, it's like
Okay.
very about composition. It's more
Mhm.
contained.
Got it.
So I did, yeah. I
I
don't
see. I
I
see.
don't really know why I have this range, but it seems like I was playing with different way of making the art.
It's interesting you mentioned that the with abstract art with the shapes and everything reminds you of actually designing, which I don't know if that's a good thing for you or not, because it seems like you want to get away from the designing. You want a more of a expressive kind of work, more like intuitive work. So hopefully that practice is not too stressful for you. um,
Yeah. I think
yeah.
it's yeah. I think it's about the medium and some. Yeah, I think that was one of the things I'm trying to do with my art
Mhm.
is even the sketchbook one
Yeah.
is really to me it's about overcoming the things like, oh, like I'm always thinking about the thing as I'm
Yeah.
creating it, right? I want to turn
Uh-huh.
off that thinking hat.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I want to make things so frictionless. As long
I
as a
see.
pen, as a paper, I can draw, I can do a sketchbook like
Yeah.
really instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think similar with the acrylic pouring. And then the other art, I think is more intentional. There are things I want to express. Like for the Asian food, I do think that's something I want to really emphasize a lot about the Asian culture.
Mhm.
And then versus the latest abstract ones, maybe that's just like experiment with me with the media. So yeah, I think they're aiming at very different things.
Yeah. So right now you're would you say you're right now it's trying out different medium to 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 find the medium the right medium for you? Is that what you're doing right now, you think?
Yeah, I think, yeah, for sure. I do think myself, as I talked about before, I'm somebody who's like going in between art, design, and tech,
Uh-huh.
and also between the traditional media and digital media.
Uh-huh.
To me, I do think a lot of it is about first finding my voice, like
Mhm.
what is the thing I want to say with my art, and what's the thing I really resonate out of all the things I created. And the
Mhm.
second, it is about the medium. And the medium is the
Mhm.
message, I think.
Mm.
Different mediums give
Yeah,
you
yeah.
different ways to express or to have the audience feel things differently.
Yeah.
So I think last year I did a lot of different things. That's
Mhm.
why at the beginning I was telling you I'm trying to make like a roadmap this year based on
Mhm.
my last year's learnings, like what's the things I feel so strongly about, or what's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
medium I think I'm more comfortable with. So
yeah.
that's where I'm at right now.
Okay. Do you have the plan yet? Do you have the roadmap yet, or still thinking about it roughly?
I'm still thinking about it.
Okay.
I want to take my time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I do think there's a lot of like small scale like art drawing I'm still doing. But because I think I'm a person who have so many ideas all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So I do want to give myself some like containers, like, oh, what are the key inspirations? What's the key
Mhm.
medium I want to keep using so I can tie things a little bit together?
Yeah. I see. Do you think your design work inform this container at all, you think? Like, do they help you think about what you want to focus on in 2022?
Yeah, that's
Or
a really good question. Yeah, yeah, maybe I think that's a really good way to think about. Maybe there's more things I could use from my day job.
Mhm.
But right now I have not able to find a connection yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think it's interesting because my day job is about creating those digital products for the music industry.
Mhm.
So they are for the music industry, it is a lot about really like a visual focus expressions and then
Yeah.
convey that artist story with the listener.
Yeah.
So I do think there's a lot of storytelling, visual
Yeah.
storytelling. That is something on a high level ties things together.
Mhm.
Um, and then also another thing I'm personally really interested is about, I think the methodologies of creating art. Like
Mhm.
what is my process and how can I keep refining my process?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
something I'm really excited and curious about.
That's good. Yeah.
So one of the project I'm working on as well is I'm trying to do like a writing or like a keynote presentation about kind of like as a designer, how can I keep myself creative
Mhm.
like for the past year in the pandemic outside the
Mhm.
day job to keep creating. I think that's like
Mhm.
a question I keep asking myself, like what's the
Yeah.
things keep me engaged and what kind of tools I can use to help myself keep on the things I'm good at, but also
Yeah.
expanding the comfort zone to always explore something new.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm telling you, this is exciting. I think I'm excited for you because you're exploring a lot of things right now. So that's, I don't know. I feel like that's just that's a golden era because it's about you're not, you shouldn't be, I hope you're not afraid. You shouldn't be afraid of anything because you're trying different things, and the goal is to find something that is you, and not that you're gonna stop. Like I'm keep doing that. I'm sort of have maybe a style or a voice a little bit, but I think it will evolve all the time.
Mm.
Just know that that is not the end. This is basically the beginning of the beginning. What you're doing, like trying different things, is like it is the stage one. The stage one of the things that I've been talking about in the club. Like it's a learning process with trying different things, and to find what is it for me, like what's your, well, we call it voice. What is it that you want to say, and how do you want to say it? And that's always evolving, right? So I think it's an exciting time for you, and exciting time for me because I'm learning it. Like I want to see where you're going with this. So that's really cool. And keep us up to date.
Yeah, thank you.
About
I've
this. Yeah.
been getting so much inspiration from you as well. I think that's the best thing out of this art club we have. I think seeing other people's work or
Mhm.
seeing how other people how they approach their art, how they express
Yeah.
the voice. I think those are really helpful for individual artists.
Yeah, because everybody is different, right? So that's kind of cool about it, So, well, um, let's see. Is there, before we wrap up, like, what is the one thing that you want to share, advice or uh, last words for? I don't know. I feel like sometimes I want to talk to like young designers or young artists out there, like if you have any, no no worries if you don't. But yeah, what do you say?
Yeah, I really think about that. I think there's things I want to say to myself and to other artists. I think the
Mhm.
first one is trust the process. It's I think where we just talk about is like where they are, like wherever it's like, oh, you're at the beginning or you already find your voice, or like no matter which stage you at, it's also about it's always about the process. Like you
Mhm.
have to let the process lead you, but not to give like an outcome or expected thing. And then it's like, oh, I need to go there. To me, I think that's why art is so appealing, because it's always about discovery. It's always about being honest with yourself, with your audience, with your media. So I think that's what's one thing. The second one to me is really helpful is I always say to myself is your job is to create the art, but not to judge it. Because I do think as artists, sometimes we might having so many voices in our head because no one is really giving us the very rigid structure. That's
Mhm.
the appeal of art, but also that's the most difficult thing, right? So I always tell myself like just to do the job, but not to
Mhm.
judge it. So you can
Yeah,
keep going, and then don't
I
let
like
any
that.
voice to hold you back.
Yeah. You're talking about like you don't judge yourself too harshly either, right? That's what we're talking about too. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, just do it and then keep going and you know.
I think so. It's like working out. Like every day you go to the gym, you just lift the weights and don't think about anything, right? Your job to
Yeah.
do the reps. It's not to say, oh, like this, I did not lift the weight as much as I did yesterday. That's another
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's something I really learned
Mm.
throughout
Mhm.
this year of creations. Like, oh, be
Yeah.
gentle to yourself, and then just
Yeah.
go there,
Yeah.
just do the workout.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, thanks again for your time and sharing your background and what you're working on and how you work, how you think. So this is awesome, and I can't wait to see where you're going with it. Okay,
Yeah, thank you for
let us
having
know.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. Bye.